Roblox translators are in trouble with Roblox's latest update, and let me explain why. So basically, Roblox rolled out automatic translations, in which these automatic translations are going to heck over a lot of translators. And although it won't in terms of jobs, some translators feel that their job will become obsolete because of people not hiring translators. In fact, here's some food for thought. Jailbreak was one of these games that rolled out automatic translations, and it was proven to be a huge disaster. String contents that weren't supposed to be translated were translated, and the problem is it doesn't translate anything correctly in terms of context. AI cannot detect any context to something, so something can be translated to a very inappropriate word, which could be a huge problem for games that are using automatic translation. It'll be so much better to hire an actual professional translator that knows what they're doing. In today's video, we'll be going over the automatic translation update and why it's a huge problem for Roblox developers and the translator community alike, who yes, there are actual people that translate. I've gotten multiple translators' opinions on this. They let me know how they felt, along with the source of normal players. And yes, to remain non-biased, we'll try and go over the positives about this update, but unlike the post, most translators feel negatively about this update. This doesn't affect translators' jobs, but people who think this feature is totally reliable, assuming it is still in testing phase, which is also a huge mistake from Roblox. People who play in Spanish or any other language will swap to English to not struggle reading text or just not play the game ever again and dislike it, so imagine this leads to positive ratings that are reduced, less players, smaller fan base, and less profits and monetary gains if translated completely incorrectly, which in fact did happen to multiple games. Could this benefit developers that are struggling to pay their bills as well? That's a positive. Let's talk. My name's TanookiAlex, and this is our Roblox drama series, where we get right into the Roblox news, drama, tips and tricks, and more. Let's get started. Yo, what's up, Hashtag Squad, and welcome back to another video. Before we get started in today's video, make sure to subscribe for this Roblox drama, news, tips and tricks, and more. Don't forget to turn on the bell so you never miss out on the latest, which I upload a lot in fact. So that way, when you ever miss out, you can make sure that you'll get the latest Roblox news that matter and some pretty hot takes from it from me, myself, and I. Let's start with the context for this update and what happened previously. This feature has been in beta for a while, and the controversy started when Jailbreak announced that they were part of the beta program a couple years ago and opted in to Roblox automatic translations. This change is in fact now forced on developers, which a lot of developers are actually turning this off because it provides inaccurate translations. Roblox Jailbreak received a lot of apparent controversy when on December 7th, 2020, just around 2 months ago, Roblox Jailbreak announced that they just enabled automatic translations on Jailbreak for Chinese, Spanish, German, Korean, Portuguese, and more. Now, why did this receive hate? I mean, to the normal player, this is free and allows localization. But here's the problem. Jailbreak received a lot of controversy because Roblox even encourages that you hire translators if you are a big page game because it helps contribute to the Roblox economy and it provides actual accurate translation. My friend Jonetto explains it perfectly in this post. Bad language warning incoming again, so I'm warning you, if you're younger, please click off this section. I would advise you to hire professional translators instead of hiring on AI. It cannot detect context and won't be accurate at all. In extreme cases, it can even be turned into some pretty inappropriate words, and I don't think you would want kids to see that. Here's an example. Twitter.com/Jonetto/status. As you know, this is the word for a female body part. This is not good. That's a huge yikes moment on Roblox's end. Noob does not translate to what rhymes with it. That's all I'm gonna say. That's literal NSFW on a children's platform, and this is why the translator has mistakes. Jonetto continues their statement with, as this user stays here, AI also doesn't detect certain strings at times, and makes the game to be halfway translated. Also, some words may seem confusing to native players. All this will do will make them change the language on the platform back to English. Then Jonetto continues with, your whole audience is complaining about the translation, sir. You can't just reply back with, well, I cannot control it. If you actually care about your audience and want to guarantee an outstanding experience to all your players, hire people to translate. Finally, he hands it off with a shocking statement that says, at Asimo3089, rethink what you've done. Engagement and profits will decrease with poor localization. People will just swap to English that they don't struggle with to understand the translations of their language. Jailbreak still uses this, despite controversy from players, which is odd. Many native Spanish speakers, which I interviewed a couple, said that the translation is straight up wrong, and they'd rather use English instead because it can't detect context. Anyways, let's move on to the next part of the developer forum post. Hey developers, over the past couple of years, we have been working hard on a full suite of tools geared towards automatically sourcing and automatically translating content in addition to existing manual translations. We have undertaken these efforts not only to make localization support extremely easy for our developer community, but to help further Roblox international vision towards reaching and unifying audiences around the world. So to that end, in the incoming week, we'll be launching automatic translation supports for games across the platform as a default experience. This means that on a rolling basis, we will be enabling translation support for games in 8 languages on behalf of our developers. Automatic translation test results. Playtime's improvements that in order to validate that translating support by default was the right move for our community, we ran a platform-wide test 41 to see that the automatic translations have in our games. We tested on hundreds of games across multiple different languages, and after several months of rigorous testing, we saw a positive impact on both engagement and retention, especially for new players. We are extremely happy with these results, and they will begin rolling out to games. It is a huge step forward in our Roblox vision of creating a global platform that unifies audiences around the world, with content that will resonate with players that come from different backgrounds and demographics. What languages are we enabling? We will be moving forward with enabling automatic translations for Spanish, Portuguese, French, German, Japanese, Korean, Italian, and Russian. At the end of this test, we did not have enough data in simplified Chinese, traditional Chinese, or Indonesian to move forward, so that we are still testing. Stay tuned for more updates on these languages and others in the future. In the frequently asked questions, this can be proven false easily. Many native players say the translations were not accurate. Example, you can look at Jailbreak, you can look at other games, etc. Just in fact, barely decent to get by, so a lot switch back to English. If you look at these comments, they aren't exactly positive on the Jailbreak post, along with many others. However, the reason some say this is a good change is because people won't need money to translate, and the automatic translations, it's for sure, this is a fact, that it will get better over time. But here's where the problem starts to arise. Strings that aren't translated, some pop up that aren't supposed to be there. This actually makes an exact opposite experience in a game that's good. Retention is a fact that many could finally play games, but for you and me, it's when we see the English knocked off and the English isn't good. It's like that for other players. The experience is simply subpar, and as a smaller developer, I understand why people would use these posts. But if you're a larger developer and can afford accurate translations, I reckon you do, because A, it contributes to the Roblox economy, and B, you get accurate translations even with context. Some has even translated to NSFW, which proves that this is not in fact accurate like Roblox says it is. Roblox tries to debunk multiple things in the next paragraph, but let me explain why it won't work at all. How will I know if this has been enabled in my game? When this is enabled for your game, we will be turning on the following. Automatic translate checks to on, use translated content setting to on, adding all 8 languages if not added already, and automatic translation setting to on for everyone. Automatic translation quota will begin to be used. What content will be automatically translated? We'll be only translating in-game string content. Will this impact any of our manually added translations? No. Automatic translations will always be additive, so we will never override any human translations that you have in place and will only translate untranslated entries. Now for the important part, how this impacts human translators. Translators are and always will be a valuable part of our Roblox ecosystem. Their ability to provide contextual translations often yields higher quality results than an automated system. That being said, we know that not every developer has the luxury of outsourcing and paying developers for their services. To that end, we want to provide built-in product functionality so all developers can reach global players. If you're the developer that has the ability to hire a translator for your game, we encourage you to do so. We previously built features specifically for human work translator workflows, web translator portal, translator contribution reports, etc., and we'll continue to keep them in mind as we develop our translation services going forward. The Roblox community will be affected badly by this because we've seen other games like Jailbreak use these services naively without any repercussions. Despite that fact that bad words have been translated in multiple, they still continue to use it. However, once educated, money-to-vigor developers turn to translation because it is better. Naive developers will continue to use a broken system that will, in turn, produce lower quality games. Do you really want this? This is only beneficial if you are a smaller developer. If you are the larger developer, but if you have the means, please hire translators. To get a fair perspective, because I am not a translator, I barely speak French, just like in fact, I'm technically bilingual, I just never use it. I interviewed Jornetto, a high translator who's put in regard for very big games like epic minigames and much more, and here's what he said. Honestly, we're not mainly mad about the fact that we're being replaced, because we accept that. What annoys us the most is it's literally so awful and unreliable that people just act like nothing or ignorant enough to think about the disadvantages of this feature. I've asked other translators too, they all say similar to Dronetto. By the way, thank you so much Dronetto for having this quick interview with me. It's really appreciated. Because here's the thing, as AI evolves, translators will be replaced. That's what's acceptable. But the translations are A. No context, ignorance to think of disadvantages, and more. So basically, if you skip to the very end of the video, translators are afraid they are going to go out of work because of main developers, translators, enabling inaccurate translations that actually contribute to lower quality games. Thank you so much for watching my video, I really appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed, and peace out.